Gotta get that little clip at the beginning for when you then want to edit out all of the garbage stuff. So, hello and welcome back to The Lion's Den. I'm your host, the host. I'm both of those things. I'm Matt. Welcome back. That was weird. I'm talking quietly today because I don't have the energy to go absolutely wild like I do normally. And I'll be perfectly honest, I was very struggling for things to talk about this week. And, yeah, I just kind of asked my friend what they would like to listen to me scream about for 10 to 12 minutes, and they said travelling. So, well, initially they said things like a sort of theme park style thing, but, like, we only have a couple of theme parks here, of which I've been to maybe 2 or 3 of them in my lifetime, and I only really remember one of them, so, you know, it is what it is. I really should invest in, like, an arm and a pop filter. That would probably be very helpful, but I'm keeping an eye on the waveform, and we'll roll with it. So travelling. Travelling in general, done a fair bit in my life, which I have my parents to thank for that. They were very good at saving money so that we can go on interesting vacations and holidays to wonderful far off places. I mean, we've been to quite a few places actually. Namely places like America. That's quite common for people in England, I imagine, to go to America. My parents have been to Canada themselves. I haven't been to Canada personally. Although I suppose we went to Niagara Falls, which is close to Canada, well, we were on the American side, and part of it is in Canada, so, you know, that's there. We've been to some places in Europe. Well, in fact, I think we've only been to France in Europe. I mean, that counts. That's in France. That's in Europe. We briefly stopped in Hong Kong, I believe, which was on the way to Australia when we went back in 2010. That was a very big trip because obviously Australia is very far. So if you're going, you kind of want to make the most of it. I think we went there for like 2-3 weeks because they saved up for a long time and got a lot of money together and then planned everything so that we could do that. So that was really cool. I'll start though, I think, with traveling, specifically like modes of transport. That's a weird one for me. Main mode of transport, obviously, whilst we're at home in England, is the car, which has some very interesting properties for me. So when I was younger, obviously you don't drive until you're 17, 18, and yeah, long journeys do not play well with me unless it is constant and on the motorway. Long windy roads at high speeds make me motion sick very, very easily, which leads to a lot of memories of me sitting in the front of the car, still as a rock, staring straight out at the front of the road, trying to sort of anticipate what the car's going to do so that I don't feel absolutely awful. The interesting quirk I do have, though, is the only mode of transport that I can just absolutely conk out on is a car, ironically. Long motorway driving and sitting in the back of the car, it doesn't matter how long it is. As long as it is sufficiently long that we're on the motorway for a period of time, I can just conk out. And it's wonderful, although you do end up sleeping in a really bad position and then your neck's cranked and sore and whatnot, but you've had a kip and you haven't had to pay attention for an hour or however long it is. Wow, I really need a pop filter. That would really, really, really help. Maybe I'll investigate that and invest in something. The next common mode of transport is buses, which comes kind of under the same remit of cars, but worse. Especially worse for motion sickness. Walking is perfectly fine. I enjoy walking, it's just things are too far to walk most of the time. Boats are awful, absolutely awful. I do not have sea legs at all. I remember we did a Great Barrier Reef snorkeling trip when we went to Australia, in which you obviously had to get on a boat to get out there. That was awful. I felt terrible the whole way. There was supposed to be food because obviously it was a day thing. I think I remember throwing up into these compostable or disposable bags that you then threw off the side and the fish would then eat it. Disgusting, I know, but circle of life. Sure, we'll go with that. But I remember the minute we then got out of the boat and went snorkeling, I was fine. I loved it. I love swimming and whatnot, and I love water parks especially, but the mode of transport over water does not agree with me at all. The other thing is then planes. That's the next step up from sailing, I suppose. suppose? I don't know what I'm talking about. Sailing is fine, because it's generally short journeys, right? Unless you're trying to, like, sail across the ocean, which we've never done. But flying, that's the only way to get around long, long journeys. Only way. And flying is like a two-way street with me. It can be absolutely fantastic, or it can be the worst experience of my life. Absolutely awful. Long haul flights, like for example from here to America, are kind of hit and miss. Generally, if there's like very little turbulence and I can sleep or just distract myself, wonderful. Otherwise, I will just be sat there like slightly nervous the whole time and slightly feeling sick the whole time, which doesn't help when they bring food that's not exactly appetizing, but you kind of have to eat it because you're on there for 9 odd hours. So, my biggest problem as well is I can't watch or use screens when traveling. And that's any form of transport, whether it be cars, planes, trains, whatever. Oh, trains, I forgot about trains. Don't use trains very much. That's a huge problem when you're on a flight for 9 odd hours, because what's the quickest way to pass the time? Well, watch a couple movies. They have in-flight entertainment, and they have a ton of, like, the most current movies. You could just watch 3 odd movies in that amount of time, and then boom, you're in another place. I can't do that. I would feel absolutely awful if I tried to do that, which it means then instead I have to rely on my 2-hour playlist of every song I've ever liked on Spotify, which only gets you so long. And plus, listening to music and just listening to music for that amount of time is kind of fatiguing. You kind of get bored, not gonna lie. So oftentimes I'll just kind of get up, walk along the plane, maybe talk to people. Sometimes you can play sort of pen and paper based games, but even then that's risky for me because that's focusing on something other than just being present in a moving tin can in the sky. I don't know how else to put it. One thing I'm going to do the next time I fly, whenever that may be, is podcasts instead, because that's like listening or having a conversation instead of just music, which is, so we'll see if that helps or not. My other alternative is I will try and take some sleeping medication and just try and conk out for whatever flight it is, whether it's the middle of the day, whether it's late at night, evening, morning, whatever. Just sleep. Just get me through it. If I'm unconscious, it's probably for the best. Probably better for myself and for others. So the funny thing is, now that I drive myself, traveling in a car is like great personally because I enjoy driving. Obviously, you're much more involved in the act of controlling the car. Obviously, I don't feel emotionally sick because I know exactly what the car's going to do because I'm making the car do the thing. There's the enjoyment of just controlling a vehicle, and then obviously I can put my own music on and jam out whilst I'm bombing down the motorway at 70 miles an hour. That's good fun. Having to crank the radio because my car has absolutely no soundproofing now that it's 18 years old. So, yeah. But, I mean, you can only drive so far, I could technically drive from here to, what's the furthest point? Probably Korea? You could probably drive, well, no. I could drive to North Korea, but then I couldn't drive through to South Korea, the side that you actually want to go to. But technically that would be possible, because, you can drive down to Dover, get the Channel Tunnel, drive all the way across Europe, parts of Asia, assuming the road networks are adequate enough to get you that far. That would be funny. That would take you months probably. I think people have done that, sort of backpacking, but maybe in a camper van or something. So, curious ideas. I have no idea how this is going to sound. I just kind of went bought in a china shop and just hit record because, to be honest, can't really be bothered this week. Sorry. Obviously, I'll edit it down a bit, but I might leave it kind of uncut so you can just hear my incoherent rambling. So, the next couple of weeks are going to be absolutely chaotic. Hopefully I can figure out how to find time to record this, and hopefully I have time to figure out what to actually talk about instead of just having to mad dash guess something to talk about. Anyway, I hope you've all enjoyed listening, and I'll see you all next week. Bye!